Welcome to the Fantasy Football Clown Show. I'm your host, Ed, along with Justin and Brad. Week 1 preview. We're coming at you. We're real excited for week 1 and football starting and all that encompasses. A lot of work. Everybody's drafted their teams, and now they're just looking for that performance on week 1. Still have a couple things that we're trying to do around here, actually. We've got our DraftKings tournament that is a GPP. Basically, just clown heads are in it, and you pay a small entry fee and you try to win. And if you do win, you come on the show the next week and you tell us who you chose and why. And that way, maybe we can just copy what you did so I can win some more money. So you guys all want that, right? You want me to win more money. Don't let Brad and Justin win any money. Like, they don't need it. They have enough. Justin is going to Las Vegas tonight, so he's going to go all on red. I think that's what he told me. So he said, I'm just putting it all in red, and if that doesn't work, then the 000, which is the newest roulette game there, they have 000 now, not just 00. So 000 in Vegas these days is right there. So, if you want to play the green stuff, then Justin's your guy. Brad, he just wins. So he's just going to try to win fantasy leagues and tell me who I shouldn't bet on, and that's probably how that's all going to roll. If you guys think you can beat me, but you probably can't, but whatever, $10, me against you, every week you get to come at me. I'm only going to allow somebody to take $100 of my money. So just know that you got to be part of the first 10. Hit me with a DM. I'll get a head-to-head with just me against you, and I'll definitely bust on you when I beat you. So I don't think any of you guys can beat me. So that's where we are. Upcoming next week on Wednesday, you're going to hear from the top scorer in the Elite Eight. You're going to hear from the top scorer of Clownheads 1 through 5. That might be us. We might actually just hold it all down. I mean, especially the team that I have that has 17 quarterbacks. That's probably the one. I think we count bench points, right, guys? I think that's what we do.
We wish. You wish.
I think it's all the bench points that count. That's how this is going to work here. Then we have new scoring. That's what's going to happen. So tonight, we promised that, or I should say, as we come at you, we are going to make our selections. We're going to see which one of the three of us knows who is going to win Clownheads 1 through 5. And what we're going to do, just for simplistic form, just because it makes it easier for us, and we can score this. We have this crazy scoring system to see who's the best and who picks the number 1 seed right and wins the league, and who picks the 2 seed. If we get the right person that actually gets the bye and then they actually go on and win, we give more points for that kind of stuff. And we're just going to see which one of us can figure out. We know the scoring, right? So we came up with the scoring. We know the scoring. We play in a lot of leagues. We should be able to figure out which teams are good. And probably we're a bunch of clowns, to be honest with you. I mean, a fancy clown show. At least I'm a clown. Got a clown behind me. You see it right there. So in Clownheads 1, I guess I'm going to throw the baton to Justin, and you just tell me who your top 2 teams are there. Not really even why. Just give me your top 2, and we're going to go with it. And then we'll move right on to Brad, and he'll give us 1 and 2.
Okay, yeah. With my number 1 seed in Clownhead 1, I went with Jim Instant Karma. Number 2 seed is going to be Miley.
And who did you take, Brad? Because I took exactly what Justin took. I don't know. Can you look at my stuff?
I took Jim Instant Karma as my 1, actually, as well. And then I went with Last Action Hero as my.
Oh, Last Action Hero getting on the board. Oh. He always puts out a good team. I play in another league with him, so yeah, he puts out a good team. How about Clownhead 2? As you guys heard, I was exactly like Justin in Clownhead 1, so I'm not going to gain any traction with him there. So I guess we only have 1 variance in Clownhead 1. What about Clownhead 2, Justin? Who do you have there?
Okay, so Clownhead 1, my number 1 seed is Jack Powers, and my number 2 seed is S. Mert.
Okay. And how about you, Brad?
I had Jack Powers as my number 1 as well, but I went with Mala Holmes as my number 2, actually.
Ooh, give it our lady luck right there coming out. So I went with SM Rit as my 1 seed, and I went Jack Powers 2. So I still had Jack going to the playoffs, but I had to elevate or go opposite of Justin here on this one. So I get a chance here with I'm going to be cheering for SM Red because that'll give me some separation. So if I can't win, then I'm not cheering for any of you guys. Just know.
Oh yeah. Both you guys are definitely going down.
Yeah.
I'm taking this one.
Oh, okay. Well, you didn't even pick yourselves. You must not be.
Oh no, I did not plan. I did not draft to win this year. I look for the future in my drafts.
Oh, okay. There you go.
You just got to decide how far the future.
Clownheads 3.
So in Clownheads 3, my number 1 seed is JSL, and my number 2 seed, which I thought could be a little sneaky one, I think, in Corporation.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And then how about you, Brad?
Yeah, I went with 2 different ones as well. I went with the Mad Stork and then Matt DeFalco.
Okay, so I went very close to Justin. We must. I don't know how we picked them the same, but I went JSL with my number 1 seed. But then I decided here I was going to show Jack Powers a little bit of love. So
Another
I came in
one.
number 2 with Jack Powers.
He's been some money this year.
That's where we're going to go there. So Clownhead 3, Jack Powers number 2. Use my other bye week. How about Clownhead 4? Now we're all 3 in Clownhead 4. So just kind of our first league that the 3 of us are in, and we go at each other, and we don't want to. I know you guys put me number 1. I mean, I know that's how you would have went this way here. So just give me number 2. What the heck?
My Clownhead 4. I didn't pick either one of you guys. My number 1 seed is Divider, and my number 2 seed is Amazing Asian.
Ooh,
interesting.
I did the promo for Amazing Asian. I remember that. Yeah. How about you, Brad? Who'd you go with?
I made Amazing Asian my number 1, and then I actually picked myself as the number 2.
Of course.
Keep wishing. I just want you guys to know that I did the breakdown of Amazing Asian and Brad in that particular week. So
yeah.
I did a great selling job of making that all work. So I don't think I heard my 2 people. So I must have went way off the beaten path here. And I did not pick either of you guys either. So just know that I did not do that. I went Draft Guru with number 1. And I went Backdoor Slut with number 2.
So you decided to go against your normal draft philosophy and picked someone that's going to be the number 1 seed that only has 2 starting quarterbacks.
I did, and I think the amount of points that they were able to score on those bye weeks was pretty high, and I looked at the matchups as currently constructed. It appears that they got kind of weaker matchups on when the bye weeks came into trouble. So that's kind of where I'm going there. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see if it works.
Yeah. You're a braver man than I am, because I wouldn't. It's harder for me to do that unless pick someone that has only 2 starting quarterbacks, unless you have some really, really, really powerful guns behind them in the other positions.
I had to throw some darts.
Just start throwing. Yeah, just start throwing. Put names on the board, just throw a dart.
Yeah. Clownhead 5. Who do we have?
So shout out to our ladies in Clownhead 5. My number 1 seed, Mahomes.
Nice.
I went with number 1, and number 2 seed is Steeler Nation. But I wouldn't be surprised if it flip-flopped, because you have some really, really nice rounded teams out there.
I like their teams too. I agree. How about you, Brad? Who did you have?
I went with Top Flight Hooker as my number 1, and actually Kerwin as my number 2.
So
Okay.
here, I seem to emulate Brad a little bit. I'm exactly opposite of him. I went Kerwin number 1, Top Flight Hooker number 2. In that same bend. But I remember looking at the ladies' teams and saying, they're pretty good. So it wouldn't shock me
More consistent.
if they come in and do really well. And kind of funny. So if you have the 4 teams that we talked about, plus our 3 of 7, we're there. Maybe we're all the bottom teams in this one or something. I probably am, but I think I'm building for the future here. But yeah, that's Clown Heads 1 through 5. Remember, you got to win twice to take that empire down. You win the prize for winning this year, but if you can bring it back next year and win that second time, that's really when you have a dynasty built. And so, excited to see how many of those even happen and how long it takes to get a back-to-back winner. So it'll be interesting to see how these teams fare and if they can run it back twice. And, I'm looking forward to that end of the year show when we get to talk about those winners and how they got there and then what their outlook looks like for next year. So taking a peek at the I want to show, kind of, some of what we have going on in the Elite 8 division and what the playoffs are going to look like. And I know it's really small, and I'll close it down, but we're going to have 16 teams come out of those 8 playoff or those 8 divisions, and the top 2 seeds in each one, and we're about to hit our projections. And as you guys can see, if you get those top 2 seeds, you get a game check, which you'll see here on the right-hand side of the screen, just for making it into the playoffs. So you play in week 15 as one of those teams, you're getting $75. So it's a game check. And if you win, then you play week 16, you get a game check. And then if you get into the final 4, which is week 17, then you'll get that game check, that final, placement check where you win the real money. So just wanted to show everybody that and kind of what we have going on here and, what that looks like and what that grid looks like and what we're trying to fill out as we're projecting and kind of going with our projections. So just wanted to show that a little bit and with what we have. So we're going to kind of go through division by division and pick those top 2 teams. Remember, I'm in A, Brad's in C. Actually, Justin is in B. So, we do have Justin in B as well. So we'll start with Brad this time around in Division A.
Yeah, my number 1 seed in A was the FF President, and then I went with P-Jags for number 2, actually.
Okay. And Justin, you still with us, or did you have some connection issues?
I'm still here. Still here.
Oh,
you guys got me?
Yep.
Alrighty, excellent. Yeah, so one of them one of them picks is similar to Brad's here, but not on my number 1. My number 1 spot is Log Gov Filling It Up. Is my number 1 seed. My number 2 seed is the FF President.
And so I was exactly the opposite of Justin. And so I have the FF President as number 1 and Lag Gov Up as my number 2. Always struggle with that name, but yeah, those 2 coming out of A, I think, seem to be the teams that'll probably represent my division this year as they put together just dynamite teams. How about Division B, guys?
I went with Sports Bag MD for my number 1 and Mucho as my number 2 coming out of there, actually.
Oh, wow. We must be like telepathic or something. I mean, that was exactly my picks too. My Sports Bag MD at number 1 and Mucho's number 2. Wow.
I was taking a dart throw with Mucho too.
Yeah, same here. I really like it. Yeah,
I took Sports Bag MD as my number 1 as well. So make that a 3.
Okay.
Nice.
A 3 person. I think that's our first one of the show where we all agreed on one spot being exactly identical.
Yeah.
And then I went Steelers Nation as my number 2.
Interesting.
So
Mhm.
I kind of threw some lady luck in there. Said, you know what? She just kind of came in near the end, and I said, I think we're gonna
Yeah, you guys think
everything's gonna work right,
Oh,
and she's
oh,
gonna
oh
come
yeah, oh yeah.
right on out, and she's gonna kind of show a lot of guys what women mean to fantasy sports. So I'm gonna put my
Exactly.
numbers right there. I'm gonna push the cards in, and so Steelers Nation, if you're watching this, you're my pick. I'm right behind you. We're gonna drive that to the Final Four, and then we'll see what happens. So that's my pick, and that's what we're gonna do here. Um, Division C, Brad's division. You're in there, Brad.
Yep. I didn't pick myself in this one,
Oh,
unfortunately.
you're gonna not win either, huh?
Nope. I went with R. Cagle as my number 1, and L. Brad actually is my number 2.
A different Brad.
Yeah,
You, Justin?
Okay, I have one of your picks also in Division C here, but my number 1 seed is the Draft Guru.
He definitely built his team to go
Yes,
for it.
definitely. I just couldn't go away from that because I believe I did his recap on there. And my number 2 seed is R. Cagle.
I gotcha. I went the Draft Guru as my number 1, but then I went with the Corporation as my number
Oh
1.
yeah, yeah. I was between them two also.
So I decided that the Corporation was the pick for me. So
Mhm.
how about Group D?
D, I went with Auscultations as my number 1, and Jack Powers as my number 2.
Keep taking mine. My number 1 seed is Jack Paris though.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah,
one different there. And my number 2 seed is MF Legend.
Oh, okay. So I also went with Jack Powers. I mean, I guess I feel like there's like a man crush I've got going on.
literally. He's
Like every time I
Oh,
see his name on there, I'm like, "Yep, yeah, that's a winner." Like,
yeah, I
feel like
know.
happens in some of my other leagues where there's just some guys that just I don't know how they draft like that in year 1, but they just separate in year 1, and then they don't always sustain. Don't get me wrong, because this is a long game. But year 1, there's some guys, and I've got some people that aren't playing in the Clownheads community that they just come out of the gate strong. So I guess I'm going to anoint Jack Powers there, at least if he can roll out the 2 number 1s I gave him and a number 2, tonight. So then I went with Johnny Ross. I didn't hear that name, out there yet from you guys. So maybe
Yeah,
he wasn't even on my radar.
maybe I'm out on a limb somewhere there.
yeah. It was definitely close with him and another guy for the number 2 spot here, but I decided to go with Cagle there.
Okay. And then how about Division E?
Yeah. E, I went with Meyerless as my number 1 out of that one. And then Danny Nichols actually is my number 2.
What? Again? Danny
I thought
Nichols is
Danny
my
Nichols
number 1.
was a hard sleeper. Like
Yeah. But my number 2 pick is Double Tap.
Oh, okay.
I really like his chances here. His team might not be too deep, but if everything falls into place, like he can definitely get it.
yeah, he's got a solid lineup.
It's
Mhm.
definitely helpful that we went through each of these teams so thoroughly that we got to have a good feel for what they are, what they were thinking, how they were drafted, and that sort of thing. I went JSL with my number 1 seed, and I guess I didn't hear that name come out of there at all from you guys. And then I went with Miralist as my number 2, and I did hear that name come out with you guys, thinking it's good. But yeah, just a little different, little variation.
Mhm.
I think I scored that we get 5 points if we get like number 1 right or number 2 right, and 3 points if we just get them in the wrong order, but we get them, and 1 point if they are just simply a playoff team, in the 6, that don't make it through. So, that's kind of, how we're going to award some points. And then if we can get any of our teams to the Final Four, we're going to give 10 points. So just kind of a shout out of what we are there. So if they go the whole way out to the Final Four, and get to play in week 17, then we'll award 10 points out of these if any of your two get there. And then if they win the whole thing, if you pick the winner out of your 16 that you pick, then we'll give you 25 points for that winning team. And so, we'll see how we score. Like, we'll score it at the end, and we'll see which one of us is a clown and which one of us is good. So just kind of throw that in here as we jump into Division F. And Brad, what do you have for Division F?
Yep. I went with Turkleton as my number 1 seed out of F, and then Goidness as my number 2, actually.
Exactly same thing.
That's crazy.
Turkleton and Goidness as 1 and 2.
I went a little different again, guys, because I guess I just do it all different. I did go Turkleton, so that's our second time that we matched the top of the board, and so I did go with Turkleton as my number 1. I went Post Dylone as my number 2.
Okay, yeah.
And so I just went a little different there, and yeah. I'm anxious to hear you guys in Division G, because I think I fell off the rails here on this one. Maybe I was just tired, or maybe I don't know what I was doing. So what did you pick in Division G, Brad? Because I
think I went with different picks. I went with Boyce as my number 1 out of there, and I went with Noisy Silence as my number 2.
How about you, Justin?
Another one of his picks.
Oh,
but
okay.
They're the same. My number 1 seed is Shippa.
Okay.
I really liked his roster lineup there. And my number 2 seed is Noisy Silence.
Oh, so I went totally off the rails, like I thought maybe I would. I went Cellar Dweller as my number 1.
Okay.
I'm looking at your faces to see what the reaction would be. I felt like this was really hard for me because I feel like there was a lot of parity here in this division. So when I looked at it, I'm like, I couldn't really figure out. So what I try to do is I try to go 1 through 12 and just kind of figure out where I think they are. And maybe I cheat a little bit and look at what FTN thinks and what some other people think, and some of the other simulators, and just kind of get a feel. But and then see if I agree with how they are, and I kind of get a good feel for what do they value, what do they not, versus what scores here and what doesn't, and how do they do. So I don't just take their top ones. But this one I remember being really hard. I went Fantasy Freak with my 2.
I was thinking about Fantasy Freak. He was
okay. So then I must not be missing it too far away. Like,
no, I like his team. I was debating on him and Noisy Silence as my team.
Yeah, same here. But both those teams, if one thing goes wrong, I was also including what ifs in my picks, and I just couldn't with either one of them.
Well, I think that's probably very prudent to do, because I can only see that it could fall off the rails really quick. I mean, definitely could. What about letter? I missed my place. Division H.
Yeah. My number 1 was Cowboys and Utes, and then my number 2 was Mystical Child.
Neither one of those are on my board. So let's go. Finally, my number 1 was Zeke. My number 2 is The Riverbed.
Okay.
Yeah, those were on my list.
So I kind of have a mix of you guys. So I went with Zeke as my number 1, and then I went with Mystical Child as my number 2. So I just kind of stole from each of you guys, and I was kind of on the same path with you guys.
I feel like that division's a little bit more spread out with top teams. I feel like that's why it's a bit harder.
Yeah, I think there's going to be like a top 4, and they're going to fight for those final 2.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's where it was, and yet 9 through 12, I think they're pretty well identified as well. Like, I think it felt like it was a lot of that, and then I didn't really know who was 5, 6, 7, or 8. Like, those 4.
Well, yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Playoffs. I think you could almost pick it out of the hat, and it's gonna be a fun season, guys. As I just kind of look ahead and I'm excited for several things, but one is just which division has that high scorer come out? Like, which division is going to be the division that week one we're going to look back and be like, how the hell did he get that kind of point? Did they turn out 330 points out of there? So, I'm excited for that. And then just to kind of find out what build worked in September versus what build works in December, because I think that's going to be different as well. And so, that's definitely the case. What are you guys excited for? Throw this one to you, Justin. What kind of has you wound up? I know you're going to Vegas, so that's got to be a own thing.
Exactly.
He's putting it all in red, like I said. But no, what has you excited about the NFL season, Justin?
Well, really, right now, in this climate community, is looking for my future. Looking towards the future for myself in this community here, with my teams, trying to build for the future, so I can keep taking everyone's money every year. That'll be nice.
Yeah, that's the goal.
That is the goal. But in my home leagues, did the same thing. My draft that I did last night, I'm not going to go too much into it, but the year before, I came in last place. Last place. I was heartbroken. And prior to that, I won 3 years in a row.
Oof.
And then you go from 1 to 12.
I feel like that's kind of how my journey was. I have a team that I started in '98, and that's actually when Brad was born. So for you guys that don't know, Brad is my son, and he was born in '98. So I'm giving away his birth year and his age, I guess, too. But I started right after he was born. That fall, I started a fantasy football startup dynasty, and I've just kept it going every year since that. We'd mail out checks and all kinds of crazy stuff to make the money go around. And the commissioner lives across the country from me, the whole way across, like in Tacoma, Washington. So crazy. Shout out to you, Ryan, if you're listening as well. But and that's kind of what made this bug happen. And I won 2 years in a row, Justin, and I thought I'm pretty good at this. And then I won another redraft home league that was my first league on Sleeper, and I'm like, I'm pretty freaking good. Like, you just win every league. I mean, I almost kind of was thinking that subconsciously, like, geez, I'm kind of better than these guys. I started like this fantasy like craziness, and I couldn't win in that league ever. Like I just went down the tubes, and I'm like, what the hell? I mean, that league is non-PPR, and they only score 3 points for a touchdown throwing, right? I have Lamar Jackson. He's like a running back. I mean, you need running backs in that kind of one quarterback league, and I basically have my running backs, but I've got running back quarterback / quarterback. Like I got the best one there. So I should win all the time. But of course, the last 2 years, as you know, Lamar hasn't been quite 2019 Lamar.
No.
And then I have CMC, but the last 2 years, CMC hasn't been the all-world player that he was. And it doesn't take long to start to figure out. And I have one tight end that starts in that league, and I have Kittle. So the last 2 years, Kittle has it. But I mean, just think about that kind of a starting lineup. Like I just mopped up because for a long time, I mean, I was even good. We have kickers in that league, and I have 2, and that guy kicks like 90-yard field goals. So I mean, and then it just unravels so fast. So I hear you, Justin, in your draft last night, and I'll be anxious next week to like hear about how that performed in week 1 and how that all went as well. So that'll be cool. What are you looking forward to, Brad? What's on your mind week 1? What can you give us? What can you give the people listening?
Honestly, I'm excited to see how the community is able to react and adapt to the injuries that are going to happen in week 1. Like the teams with only 2 quarterbacks or 2 tight ends, like how are they going to be able to put together something if somebody like Kelsey or a Waller gets hurt, which may not happen, but is very, very well in the realm of stuff that could happen with them being older. Like it'll be cool to see like if contenders will stay contenders or if they'll kind of drop into rebuild right away or not, or if they'll play off emotion or not.
That just kind of takes me to, I want to show you guys just kind of, I know everybody laughs a lot about that I draft quarterbacks and how many I draft and all the goodness of that. And this is really small, but I did a chart, and I'll let you guys kind of weigh in on it. But I did a chart of the starting quarterbacks that we thought on August 1st. So just 30 days ago, like just at the beginning, right before all the preseason games, and then who the starting quarterbacks are today. Now, you guys will probably say, oh, okay, we knew that these guys were going to change. Well, maybe. But let's start with Zach Wilson. On August 1st, he was the starting quarterback. We expect week one, Joe Flacco is going to be the starting quarterback. So that's changed. That's definitely different. Deshaun Watson, we thought may or may not be the starting quarterback. I mean, it was kind of like this, is it going to be appealed? What's going to happen? He was just getting traded. You know, we didn't know exactly what was going to happen. We thought Jacoby Brissett, but we didn't know if it's going to be a whole year or 12 games or what it was. So that is a real change since then. So we have got Jacoby Brissett. And then we looked, there was a battle. We may have thought that Baker was going to win the battle, but there was really a battle. I believe it was a full-fledged battle. And so Baker's kind of the starter there. And then another battle, and I would have been wrong if both I was going to guess. I thought Drew Lock would beat out Geno Smith for that job, and Geno's going to start there for them. And I actually thought they'd bring in Sam Darnold, to be honest with you, to start. So I was way off, but he got hurt, and so that was that. I mean, so I guess I asked you guys, what do you think of that? And I think we'll see week 2 will be even different than that with more yellow, and so anyway.
Absolutely. I mean, we've already seen backups out for the year, like you said with Darnold. Corral's already out for the year. Like, it's definitely going to change dramatically. Like, if Baker were to get hurt, the Panthers end up turning to like PJ Walker at that. It changes dramatically. It can change dramatically.
I'm going to jump in right before Justin there and let Justin respond. But I just kind of was thinking that week 1, week 2, right? We don't hit quarterbacks in the preseason, or not hard. We take them out. We only give them 2 snaps, 3 drives. They hand the ball off 3 of the 5 snaps they take. They throw quick pitches. That 1, 2, gone with the ball. Like no run around and make stuff happen, do like freelancey stuff because they don't try to get hurt. In week 1, it's like pin back the ears and go hit people. And it's almost like you never even practice getting hit like that because they have a red jersey on all the practice so they don't get hurt. And so the first time that they get legitimately crushed, they sometimes don't get up. Like, I find that there's more injuries week 1, week 2, week 3 than there is the rest of the year. It just those first couple of weeks, torn ACLs are a thing. Like, it's a real thing. And also for running backs, I mean, I'm not going to say that it's not running backs too, but quarterbacks, what we know is the backup quarterback gets usually 100% of the snaps of the starters out. Mm-hmm. Backup running back might get 60% of the snaps if the starting running back's out. Like, that's the percentage difference, and that's why I guess I focus so hard on when you start 2 quarterbacks or you start 2 running backs. Do you want a handcuff of the quarterback or do you want a handcuff of the running back? Well, I want a handcuff of the quarterback because what I know is if PJ Walker does play, he's probably playing 100% of the snaps or 98% of the snaps. So he's getting them all. So even if he throws for 200 yards, that's still 8 points. That's still better than a 0. Without throwing a touchdown, he might fall into 2 touchdowns, and now we got 12 more. Now we got 20, and that's PJ Walker scoring 20. I mean, a receiver has to do an awful lot to score 20, and I gave you a crappy day to get 20. So anyway, I digress. Justin, weigh in on quarterbacks and injuries.
Well, I definitely think it's going to be an interesting year, very interesting. Just going to have to see who can hold up the longest. Who's going to hold up the longest? Everyone knows that Tom Brady, when was the last time he was injured? I don't know. I know he stood out a few games right before playoffs, but I think there will probably, I'm going to guess, anywhere from 5 to 6 starting quarterbacks to go down within the first 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I definitely see that.
And I don't know what you guys think about this, but sometimes I feel like the guys like Tom Brady, 2004, to answer your question, I believe was the time he got hurt. I might be wrong on that, but I think it was 2004. I feel like guys like him, it's bound to happen sooner or later. Now, I'm not wishing it upon him. I'm not hoping upon it. I'm not saying any of that stuff. I just think that you just never know. And when you have older guys, you take a chance. If they get hurt, that might be the end of the road. Like,
absolutely,
it's a real thing that they get hurt and you just never do it again. Like it's over.
No.
But they don't all play it quite like Drew Brees or Ben Roethlisberger and try to get that one last year after they got hurt. And I mean, sometimes, but not a lot. A lot of times they just, you know what? Ryan Fitzpatrick would be the case. He just got hurt last year and it's over now. It's just over. Not that he was a star, but last year before week 1, before he got hurt, we really were excited. Terry McLaurin's we called him Terry McScoring. Like, we were ready. Like, it was, he was going to be. And, imagine how differently the Commanders look this year. They have a whole new team name this year. That's how much different they look. New uniforms, new everything. And it's a world different this year and what they have. You guys, so what bets are you going to make, Justin, in Vegas? Do you have any sports bets, any NFL bets you're going to do?
I don't know. I don't know if I guys are watching. Send them out to me because I really don't know. Besides one of them that I'm thinking about picking the Minnesota Vikings to win their division, and probably put a couple hundred down on that one. I looked at the odds the other night. I think it was minus 105. So it's a little less than doubling your money, but I think it's a decent pick right now. So we'll definitely have to see.
That's interesting. I like to, on those season long, just my own bankroll. I like to churn my bankroll over and over again. So I don't like a lot of prop bets for season long, but I got suckered into a DraftKings bet, so I just kind of throw this out to you guys. DraftKings had this bet where you could put $50 down on a team to win the Super Bowl, and every win they get in the regular season, you get $5 back. So they get 10 wins, you get your money back, and it's a free bet. So I actually also chose the Minnesota Vikings, but what was kind of crazy is I got 40-1. So I thought that was pretty good. And I also think that they might get 10 wins. So if they get 10 wins, it's a free bet. So, it turns into, $2,000 if they win. So my $50 bill. And I thought that made some sense. So that's where I have Minnesota in long term. I found an interesting prop bet on DraftKings on Thursday night. So I just throw this to you. And that is, if the team goes up by 7, you can bet either money line. So you can either take the Rams or you can only do one, though. They said if you do both, it null and voids the bet. But you can take either the Rams money line or the Bills money line. And if they go up by 7 at any point, you just win. And if neither team goes up if your team doesn't go up by 7, then the money line is the money line. Like, you just win the money line. But I decided to take a little bit different approach. I actually think that the Bills will cover, but I took the Rams money line because it paid better. So just follow me here on this. I threw the $100 on the Rams money line to pay 115 plus 115. I went over to FanDuel and bet $100 minus the points. At basically, I get win 94 for my 100 on the Bills. So the only way that I don't win money is if the Bills win by 2.5 or less than 2, 1 or 2, tie 1-2. Those are the only things that beat me. And the Rams never take a 7-point lead throughout the whole night. Like that they can't, if they never took the 7-point lead and the Bills only figure out a way to squeak it out. And I figure if it's tied, somebody's going to go up by 7, somebody else is going to go up by 7. Like that's so. It almost like if they only win by 2, that's a field goal late, then they were probably losing by 7. Like it just feels like it would be that way. So I thought And then if both happen, then I really made out like a bandit. So with all that kind of
Mhm.
hedging around. So I mean, I say a bandit, I have $200 major on it. So I thought you guys would like that.
Yeah.
Just some prop bets that I just throw to you. I like Cam Akers prop. So just that was one that I pulled out, and I like Gabe Davis prop. I know I alluded to that in one of the previous shows. Gabe Davis yardage props. You can kind of go alternate yards on both sites, and there's some real nice
Mhm.
juice. I thought about parlaying them because sometimes when you do like those two guy parlays and you alternate yard it up a little bit, you can get your juice around 250 ish. And I feel like if that makes you can hit two. You can hit two yardage props typically, over unders on yardage, and B, I play small stakes, but 10 or $20 and it turns into $60. That's a pretty good
Mm.
throw the other way, and you can do that a
Yeah.
lot of games. And
Well, see, I live in Oklahoma, so the online gambling like that is against the law, and I haven't yet to find player props that I can go into a casino and bet. MGM, Cosmo, Bellagio, Caesars. I haven't been able to find any of those in years because they don't put them out,
so
and I can't do them on the
we'll have to
phone.
talk offline, Justin, and we'll have to create our relationship, because I accept Venmo over here.
Okay.
Throw that out there. No, we'll figure out a way. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I know before Brad, you used to call me with basketball picks, right? And before you could do it in New York, so I was sending screenshots. I remember sending you screenshots of we're playing this parlay and doing this. So
Yeah.
that's the prop bets I have for Thursday. I'm going to take a look at some of them. So I play some novel things like that. Like I see that there's a free parlay you can play that, and I thought, well, if it's free, like if they reimburse me if I lose, I'll probably play like a six legger or something where I'm gonna really, if I hit it, I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna, because it's insured. Like I may as well take a shot with something, and I think I might do it that way, or I might get some free money and then try to turn that free money into something. I mean, I'm not sure how I'm going to play it yet, but if it's insured, I may as well, play something a little bit longer and try to cash something big and say, okay, then I'll be joining. All of a sudden, Justin will be like, Ed, why did you come to Vegas? I hit the big parlay. I'm coming out.
There we go. Just come on out.
So there we are. Yeah, so wrapping up week one. I mean, we'll be real excited for next week. Just I want to promo that a little bit. That next week, looking forward to Clownheads 1 through 5. That top scorer. We're gonna dive into their team. We're gonna bring it up here on the screen. You guys got to see a couple spreadsheets that we have and some of what we do around here. But excited to have them aboard, and we can just fire some questions at them and see what they did to build their team and what they did to start the right guys. I mean, I got to go back to, somebody broke down that I had Mac Jones on the taxi, and you know what? I actually will not have him on a taxi. That was just like, so sometimes I do things like that, and I guess just to elaborate that, I'll move guys to the taxi so I can pick up other guys, and then I'm picking up a rookie, and then I'm just going to swap them out and move that. And so I'll probably activate him before Thursday. But,
Okay.
so if you guys have guys to activate, make sure Thursday is the deadline. Make sure you do that. And, I'll make sure I run through all my teams on Thursday. That'll be the 60 team. I think I counted them this morning that I have 60 dynasty teams this year. So that's kind of where we're going to fall. So it'll be Sunday mornings from 11:30 to 1 will be full of inactive substitutions for me. So that's what I guess I'm gearing up for every Sunday morning, making sure that I'm not flying somewhere, not doing anything else. I have a wedding coming up in September, and I was thinking to myself, geez, I guess I'm gonna have to get somebody to drive me home so that I can on Sunday morning so that I can be on the phone getting the lineup set. So
Yeah.
that's I think the excitement for me is what that piece. Also just got to show what I'm about here. This is my my Yingling Light Lager. I guess we're trying to get it here. This is what I'll be cracking open on Thursday night. I'm ready. I've got the beer's cold. I went and got a whole bunch of beer. Yeah. So that's
There
kind
you
of my beer choice. Didn't come through there. I guess it can show up on the screen very well. But yeah, I'm gonna drink some Yingling Light from my old stomping grounds. Any final thoughts from you guys before we close up for the week?
Now let's just take this first week and go forward.
Well, then I'll just tell you guys good luck. I mean, since we were before the season, I can wish both of you guys good luck. Good luck in Vegas, Justin, as you
Thank
go.
you.
That's exciting. I mean, that's fun too. And we'll see each of you guys and each other back on the Fantasy Football Clown Show next Wednesday morning, same time, top of the hour, the 7 o'clock hour here on the East Coast. So for now, I'm Ed. That's Justin and Brad over there. So long.